Maya Chen was 17 years old when the world decided it was done with her. Her stepfather had changed the locks on a Tuesday morning, leaving her standing on the porch with a garbage bag full of clothes, $43 in her pocket, and no plan for what came next. She had no relatives who would answer the phone, no friends with spare rooms, and no adult in her life who believed she was worth the trouble. The shelter 2 towns over had a 3-week waiting list. So Maya walked down roads she barely knew, past houses with warm lights in the windows, wondering how something as simple as belonging somewhere had become so impossible. It was on the edge of Millbrook's oldest neighborhood, past the rusted water tower and the forgotten railway crossing, that she first saw it. The house sat behind a wall of overgrown weeds, its windows boarded up, its porch sagging like a tired mouth. A handwritten sign in the yard read, "For sale, $7. She assumed it was a joke. It was not. The owner, an elderly man named Mr. Aldridge, had inherited the property from a cousin. He'd never liked and wanted it gone more than he wanted money. He looked at Maya, this thin girl with determined eyes and a garbage bag at her feet, and he said, "You got $7? She counted out the crumpled bills into his palm. He handed her a key. Just like that, she owned something. The first night. She slept on the floor, wrapped in the one blanket she'd packed, listening to the wind push through the broken boards. The ceiling had a hole the size of a dinner plate. Mice had made homes in the walls. The kitchen had no working pipes. The bathroom floor had rotted through in one corner. A smarter person might have walked away. Maya was not walking away from anything ever again. She started with what she could do with her own hands and zero money. She pulled weeds until her palms bled. She swept out years of debris with a broken broom. She watched free YouTube tutorials at the library on her cracked phone, learning how to patch drywall, how to seal gaps, how to regrout tile. She collected discarded wood from construction sites, always asking permission first, and used it to repair the porch. She went to Habitat for Humanity's Restore store and found a working sink for $11. A neighbor named Mrs. Paulson watched her work from across the street for 2 weeks before finally crossing over and asking if she needed lunch. Maya said yes. That lunch turned into a friendship. And Mrs. Paulson's, a retired contractor, became the most important teacher Maya ever had. Together they tackled the plumbing. Together they replaced the rotted bathroom floor. Mrs. Paulson taught her how to read a level, how to cut a straight line, how to think about a space before tearing into it. Other neighbors began to take notice. One brought leftover paint, a warm cream color. Another donated a used water heater. A hardware store owner down the street started giving her discounts because, as he put it, he'd never seen a teenager work that hard. In 8 months, the house had a functioning kitchen, 2 livable bedrooms, a solid roof, and walls that didn't breathe cold air. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. What happened next surprised even Maya. A local newspaper reporter drove through the neighborhood and stopped when she saw the transformed property. She knocked on the door, expecting to meet a family. She found a 17-year-old girl covered in paint. The story ran on a Sunday. By Wednesday, it had been picked up nationally. Emails flooded in, from contractors offering free materials, from investors asking if Maya wanted to flip more properties, from teenagers in impossible situations who said she had made them feel less alone. A non-profit offered her a full scholarship to study architecture. She accepted, but she did not abandon the house. She rented it affordably, deliberately, to a single mother who needed exactly the kind of second chance. Maya understood better than anyone. At 23, Maya now runs a small company that buys condemned properties in forgotten neighborhoods, restores them with a team of young people who needed the same thing she once did. A place to belong and something to believe in, and sells or rents them below market rate to families who have nowhere else to turn. She never forgot what it felt like to stand on the outside of a locked door. So she spent her life building new ones and making sure they always opened. Follow Impressive. Tales for more stories that remind you what one person with nothing but courage can build, like Share and subscribe so you never miss a story that matters.